almost everything.
Where's the volume?
Unprecedented in the history of the recent history of the SNP. So the candidates are here, the families are here, the press is here, broadcasting in Scotland is here. Just waiting for the announcement, which is expected.
Turn the sound off just a moment. So if you want to, you can bring it up. It's now like a full screen affair. So as we reckon.
Aye.
Hello, Mr. E. How are you?
Keep an eye on. If you get Facebook up, David.
We'll do now. There we go. Right. Okay. Yep. There we are. Sandra, welcome Sandra, welcome Alan, Kirsty Falls, Lorna Stewart, Linda Gordon, Alan Duncan, David McBeef, Gillian Albiston, Sandra Rutherford, Tommy Gourley, Melanie McCain, Helen Galbraith, Neil Young, Eric Lowe. That's what I've got so far. And Lorna. Hi, Lorna. Dan Knox, Julie Gagan, Fiona McFarlane, BJ Williams. Hi, hello there, Mr. Williams. Avril Lamb, Arthur Cooper.
That's enough, David. Come on. Hey, and hi to everybody on YouTube as well. Too many there to mention now. As you can see, folks, we're going to watch the announcement along with you guys.
Yeah.
There'll be no copyright infringement here. So YouTube, if you're paying attention, there is no copyright infringement here, because just so happens that the people that run this channel are friends of ours.
Yeah.
We know, Thomas, that's why we've got it up. Yeah. And it's not a hustings, it's an announcement on the leadership election.
This is the thing that the unionists are detesting at the moment, is the fact that all of the nonsense has come to an end. And we will soon find out whether the whole independence issue has fallen apart and it's all gone south.
Well, that'll take a couple of days after this announcement, but we'll get to that. We'll get to how things could go all Pete Tong for here on in.
Yeah.
But apart from that,
I'll keep my finger on the button ready to bring the sound up when it comes to seeing the candidates coming up and all the rest of it. Should be out 5 minutes. I think we should just talk over maybe other things, David.
Aye, let's talk about Sarwar over the telly yesterday claiming that whoever's the new leader doesn't have a mandate.
Well,
you know, one of the problems with the Conservatives doing that road is every new leader has decided to ignore the mandate they were given by the public. That's their manifesto.
Yes.
What we have to do is, no matter who the new leader of the SNP is, we have to stand on their neck and say, no, you will go through that manifesto you were elected on in 2021, because you were a party member, or you were standing to be a party representative on that manifesto. So that manifesto is your mandate, and that's the manifesto you'll put out.
Well, all I can say is, from my point of view, is, well, he would say that, wouldn't he? You know, it's like he is the leader of the branch office of Labour in Scotland, and therefore he's just going to say something that's going to suit the party line down in London.
The other thing about him is, if I remember right, he's a list MSP, so he's not got a mandate for anybody.
That's right. Yeah. I'm just trying to keep an eye on what's going on at the back here. You can see the line of cameras and all the rest of it at the front and the left hand side as you're looking.
Aye, I can see it. You can the written press.
Yeah.
In fact, it's probably a press pack at the back or the other. The camera probably swing round to a stage at the other end when it comes to the announcement, David.
Well, I wonder what the weather's doing in Murrayfield, because in Clydebank at the moment the sun is splitting the bloody trees.
Aye, it's lovely here at all 6 degrees.
The sun always shines on the righteous.
It's lovely here at all 6 degrees. That's the weather for Salisbury and Clydebank. You want to know what the weather's like where you are? Look at your end, bloody windy.
Oh, you never said that before, Davey. Anyway.
Old habits die hard, David. And when you make that other one, I know that idiot Starmer, he's spending an awful lot of time in Scotland, does he know? Once a week visits. He seems to think that Labour could make a revival here.
No, this is the whole problem of a leader that tends to be operating within his own bubble. And his own bubble, he's maybe like got a dozen people around about him firing stuff into him, right? And there's somebody in there going, oh, if you just keep the pressure up in Scotland, we'll win it back again.
What they don't seem to realise is when we look at the polling consistently, the Labour will have a mini revival here in Scotland, but it will not be at the expense of the SNP, it'll be at the expense of the Tories.
That's right. Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Apparently it's nice in Glasgow as well, in Denison.
Yep. It's Robert.
Funny that, Stephen, we had snow in Salisbury last night. Never came to nothing, but it did snow. Fiona, we'll get to 10,000 a day, will we? Let's do the 10,000 a day thing, the led by donkey sting on Hancock, Courtang, and a couple of other Tories, and I think one of them was a Labour MP. Cracker. You know, absolutely cracker. But 10,000, and apparently they haven't done anything wrong, these MPs, and they're entitled to do that, you know. Absolutely stunningly good stuff.
Well, guys, just a single comment. Put up what you think. We'll make it H, K, and A. If you reckon it's going to be Humza that wins, put up H. If you reckon it's going to be Kate that wins, you put up a K. And if you think it's going to be Ash that wins, it's going to be an A. So let's see it, guys. Let's see where the betting's going. And
well, David, I'm watching the weather forecast coming in for all over Scotland here. Growing faithfully.
Well,
right, we've got a lot of H's and a lot of A's coming through now.
H.
Yep. Whoever's doing that spelling better come up with a good acronym for that. Thanks, Eddie. It's appreciated, mate. It's appreciated.
I would say looking at it all, it's sort of 50-50 between Humza and Kate on our own little straw poll, right? So, what's this happening in the back here? There's lots of people flooding into. I can see Kate Forbes. Hang on, we'll put the sound on. We'll get
the sound up until the camera swings round.
You reckon?
Aye, I reckon.
Alright, okay.
Apparently the Barhead young team, Chris says, "Now what about them, Chris? You want to play with the toe-cross tongs?" Well, we're up for that childish stuff in here.
Exactly, aye.
Who's going to be doing the counting with Pet? Probably party officials will do the counting.
Aye.
And anybody wants to, I would stick a kid, right, we're going to shut up now, I think we're about to get an announcement. Stick it up, David.
Yeah, right.
The contest has taken our three candidates the length and they've beamed into our living rooms via TV debates. They've worked tirelessly to engage with members all over the country. So this is a historic moment for the SNP. And as we look forward to our community, good afternoon and welcome to Murrayfield. My name is Kirsten Oswald and I am the SNP Business Convener. And I'm delighted to be here today at the culmination of this election contest to choose our new SNP leader. The contest has taken our three candidates the length and breadth of Scotland. They've beamed into our living rooms via TV debates and they've worked tirelessly to engage with members all over the country. So this is a historic moment for the SNP. And as we look forward to our new leader, I want to thank Nicola Sturgeon for her exceptional leadership over the past 8.5 years. I'd also like to convey my thanks to the candidates, to our members, and to everyone at SNP HQ and our National Executive Committee who've worked so hard behind the scenes to deliver this important exercise in party democracy. And I'm delighted to welcome to the stage to announce our new leader, Lorna Finn, SNP National Secretary.
Here we go.
National Secretary of the SNP, I have been given the results of the party leader election 2023 from My Voice, the Ballot Services Company. These are as follows. The final number of eligible members was 72,169. A total of 50,494 ballot papers containing a valid vote were received. There were 3 rejected postal ballot papers. The turnout was therefore 70%.
Not bad.
48,645 of the ballots were cast electronically, and 1,849 of the ballots were cast by post. The first preference votes are as follows. Ash Regan, 5,599. This represents 11.1% of the first preference votes. Kate Forbes, 20,559. This represents 40.7% of the first preference.
24,000 for Humza.
Humza Yousaf, 24,336. This represents 48.2% of the first preference votes.
It's not 50.
As no candidate received more than 50% of the votes, Ash Regan, as the candidate who received the least number of first preferences, was eliminated, and the second preference votes in favour of Kate Forbes or Humza Yousaf were given to them. The result after those votes were redistributed was as follows. Kate Forbes, 23,890. This represents 47.9% of the final vote. Humza Yousaf, 26,032. This represents 52.1% of the final vote. I therefore declare Humza Yousaf duly elected as the Scottish National Party leader. Congratulations, Humza. And I now invite you up to the viewer.
After he's had his speech, we'll turn that off, David.
Yeah, no, yeah, I will.
H, I don't know why Ash Regan would be raging. The bookies have had her as a non-starter all the way.
I know.
Can I begin by thanking our National Secretary, Lorna Finn, and also can I thank our headquarters staff for all the incredible efforts that they have made right throughout this process. It is hard for me to find the words to describe just how honoured I am to be entrusted by our membership of the SNP to be the party's next leader and to be on the cusp of being our country's next First Minister. Can I begin by paying tribute to my colleagues, both Kate and Ash. During almost 20 hustings, it's probably felt like we've seen each other more than we have our respective families. You both have put in an incredible shift, and I know that collectively we will continue to work hard as part of Team SNP. I am not just humbled of that, I most certainly am. I also feel like the luckiest man in the world to be standing here as the leader of the SNP, a party I joined almost 20 years ago and that I love so dearly. Friends, it was the late John Smith, and he got it absolutely right when he said, "The opportunity to serve our country is all we ask. To serve my country as First Minister will be the greatest privilege and honour of my life, should Parliament decide to elect me as Scotland's next First Minister tomorrow." And just as I will lead the SNP in the interest of all party members, not just those who voted for me, so I will aim to lead Scotland in the interest of all of our citizens, whatever your political allegiance. If elected as your First Minister after tomorrow's vote in Parliament, know that I will be a First Minister for all of Scotland. that I will work every minute of every day to earn and to re-earn your respect and your trust. I will do that by treating you, the people of Scotland, with respect. There will be no empty promises or easy sound bites when the issues in front of us are difficult and complex, because government is not easy, and I won't pretend that it is. My immediate priority will be to continue to protect every Scot as far as we possibly can from the harm inflicted by the cost of living crisis, to recover and reform our NHS and other vital public services, to support our well-being economy, to improve the life chances of people right across this country. I will move quickly to develop plans to extend childcare, to improve rural housing, support small businesses, and boost innovation. I will bring forward reforms of the criminal justice system. I'll work with local government to empower our local authorities. And as First Minister, I will not shy away from those exceptionally tough challenges that require the difficult decisions. But where there's challenge, I will use it to also find opportunity. My government will seize the economic and social opportunity that the journey to net zero will bring. A country as energy rich as Scotland should not have people living in fuel poverty. The government I lead will renew and redouble our efforts to lift people out of poverty, to make work fair, to make our economy work for the people, and to ensure as we become a more prosperous country, we also become a fairer country too. And while I have had my fair share of battles with the UK government over the years, and there may well be some to come, I will work with them and other devolved nations constructively where I can in the best interests of our nation. I'm a proud Scot, and equally a proud European too, and Scotland is a European nation. We want to return to the European Union and play our part in building a continent that's based on human rights, on peace, prosperity, and social justice. To the people of Scotland, the SNP has earned your trust by governing well, by ensuring that your priorities are our priorities. As a party and as a government, we are at our best when we are radical and bold. And the challenges we face today, they require nothing less of us. That is what I promised the people of Scotland, if Parliament, of course, puts its trust in me tomorrow. Joining the SNP, for me, was an act of hope, but it was also a statement of intent. I was determined then, as I am now, that we will deliver independence for Scotland, together, as a team. Leadership elections, by their very nature, can be bruising. However, in the SNP, we are a family. Over the last 5 weeks, we may have been competitors or supporters of different candidates. We are no longer Team Humza or Team Ash or Team Kate. We are one team, and we will be the team. We will be the generation that delivers independence for Scotland.
There you go, guys.
Where there are divisions to heal, we must do so quickly, because we have a job to do. As a party, we are at our strongest when we are united. Yeah. And what unites us is our shared goal of delivering independence for our nation. To those in Scotland who don't yet quite share that passion that I do for independence, I will aim to earn your trust by ensuring we govern well, and earn your respect as First Minister by focusing on the priorities that matter to all of us. And in doing so, using our devolved powers to the absolute maximum effect to tackle the challenges of the day. And for those of us in this room and watching who do believe in independence, we will only win by making that case on the doorsteps. And my solemn promise and commitment to you is that I will kickstart our grassroots, our civic-led movement, and ensure our drive for independence is in fifth gear. The people of Scotland need independence now more than ever before, and we will be the generation that delivers independence for Scotland. Before concluding, I want to take the opportunity to thank some very, very special people indeed, and I wouldn't be standing here today if it wasn't for the support and the encouragement of a number of hard-working people. First of all, there is my amazing wife, Nadia. She is not just my rock, she is my compass, who helps to guide me through the most difficult times in life. There is no way, not a chance in hell, that I would be standing here if it was not for your love, for your support, and for your advice. Thank you for believing in me and for always being there for me. I will love you more, and I do love you more than words, more than the words that I can find to express. To my girls, this job will at times be all-consuming, I suspect, but know that there is no more important job in my life than being your dad. To Maya and Amal, you will always, always come first. To my mum, to my dad, to my sisters, thank you for your unwavering support throughout my life, for picking me up when I have been down, and for telling me to keep going when at times I had my doubts. I'd also like to thank my phenomenal campaign team. You have worked day and night over the last few weeks to support me. You've all sacrificed time with your family, your friends, because like me, you believe in our vision of a progressive, socially just Scotland, and I will not let you down. A special mention to Neil Gray. He is quite simply the best corner man I could have asked for. During the roller coaster of emotion that is any leadership contest, you have been by my side, and there is no way I would have made it to the finish line without your support. And to my good friend and colleague, Shona Robison, your wise counsel has been indispensable to me during this contest. To our now former leader, Nicola Sturgeon, and her deputy in government, John Twinney, thank you for your dedicated service to this party, to our country, and to all the people of Scotland. You have left me strong foundations to build upon. And thank you to my colleagues in both parliaments, across local government, and activists around the country who have been so supportive and so encouraging. I will ensure that I harness all of the talent across the party and across the country as I build that team that will take Scotland forward to deliver our nation's independence. From our brilliant MPs led ably by Stephen Flynn and by Mary Black in Westminster, to our leaders in local government, as well as our exceptional group of MSPs in the Scottish Parliament, our Parliament has an array of talent right through its ranks. Our parliamentarians, our councillors, our activists, our members all have a vital part to play on our journey to independence, as do our friends right across the independence movement. To have your confidence as I take on the role as SNP leader means so much to me. My final thanks is to my grandparents. Unfortunately, they're no longer alive to see this day, but I'm forever thankful that my grandparents made the trip from Punjab to Scotland over 60 years ago. As immigrants to this country who knew barely a word of English, they could not have imagined in their wildest dreams that their grandson would be on the cusp of being the next First Minister of Scotland. As Humza Yousaf worked in the Singer sewing machine factory in Clydebank, as Rahmat Ali Bhutta stamped tickets on the Glasgow Corporation buses, they could not have imagined, as I say, in their wildest dreams, that 2 generations later, that their grandson would one day be on the cusp of being Scotland's First Minister. We should all take pride in the fact that today we have sent a clear message that your colour of skin, or indeed your faith, is not a barrier to leading the country that we all call home. From the Punjab to our Parliament, this is a journey over generations that reminds us we should be celebrating and always celebrate the migrants who contribute so much to it.
Here.
Drives my commitment to equality that will underpin my actions as First Minister. Thank you for the honour of choosing me to be your nominee to become Scotland's 6th First Minister. I will dedicate every waking moment to serving you, the people of Scotland. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh, can't switch a bloody thing off.
Thank you very much.
Right.
You're supposed to be the tech guy. You can't be working with a bloody stove button us.
Listen, look, I've been reading a few of the comments as it's been going,
you know,
and there'll be a few of you that are disappointed, and there'll be some of you that are delighted, right? It really doesn't matter. What's done is done, right? And what we need to do now is whoever won still needed all of us to get behind them.
aye, and talking about the wider independence movement. Now is the time to get your bahookies back in the street. On Saturday, the 1st of April, Yes Two's got a march. It's starting at 1300 from the top of the Royal Mile to Holyrood Parliament. Now, the Royal Mile is a world famous street. And if the international press want to see support for independence, then the Royal Mile is the place to get the picture.
Yeah.
You understand, folks?
Especially,
So I'll see you on Saturday at 1 o'clock.
Especially,
and I'm working at 6 o'clock on Saturday night, but I'll still manage.
Yeah.
No, he's not automatically elected as First Minister. The Parliament's going to elect him. But let's get back to the decision that the party has made. The party has decided that Humza's the one to lead us. Now, I see in the comments all this independence now, when. He's just told you, his generation. David and I have told you, his generation. The polls have told you, his generation. But as he says, we need it soon. Which means that we've got to inspire his generation to step up to our plate. Because we've been banging this drum for me, 25 years, for David. And David and I together for 12, 13 years. We've been banging this drum. So we need the blood coming through. And you need to put your silliness to one side. Because politicians don't win independence. People do. So it doesn't matter who's in the hot seat, really. It's the opinion of the man on the ground. 72% of those young people say they want it. Let's see 72% of the young people get their bahookies in the street the way we were 12, 14 years ago. So, but it's still our job to drive them, even if they're the ones that are going to win it. And then when they win it, it's your job to sit back and give them the wisdom of their years.
And it didn't matter who was being put up as a candidate or who went up as a candidate. It's the age-old thing. It's never as good as the person that was already in the seat, right? Nicola she's in the background, but she's effectively as a First Minister, she is gone. Now it's a case of get full square behind Humza Yousaf. If you don't, let's just call it a day right now and save us all the bloody trouble.
But we're at it. Just remember, folks, politicians are driven by public opinion.
Yes.
And that includes the ones in Holyrood and the ones in Westminster. If there is an overwhelming show of support for independence, then the independence will be delivered.
Yeah. And just one more thing, right? I'm going to mention right now. If you're not an SNP member, then if you the strongest message that could hit the whole of Westminster by the end of this week is if all of you get a cheap SNP membership, and all of a sudden they take a figure of what's happening right now. What I've been told is we were at 72,000, and that's what was counted as being the franchise for the election. But I think it's much, much larger than that now. There's a lot of people going, oh, wait a minute, let it lapse, right? So we need big numbers behind the SNP as membership. That then would show the rest of the UK that we are still serious about independence, and it hasn't fallen apart. Like I saw in the France 24 channel this morning.
I am earlier. A million on the streets of Paris. But and there's something else I'm going to ask you all today. Because there's other pressures we can put on that state down there. There's a wee thing going around called the Declaration of Calton Hill. Google it. And what it says is we're going to make Scotland a republic after independence, but putting that sort of pressure on And Humza said he might have a referendum on getting rid of Charlie anyway. So, putting the sort of pressure on, like signing the Declaration of Calton Hill and making it clear to Charlie that his jacket's on a sugary peg and he's not fulfilling his constitutional duties to Scotland, that's quite important, folks. So, sign the Declaration of Calton Hill, just Google it. It's not a hard thing to sign. Now, getting back to Humza, I'd like to say that today, or tomorrow actually, after that vote, hopefully it's because Humza's want to stay with the Green Party and the coalition, then hopefully tomorrow's a formality. But what a monumental and momentous day for Scotland, and it shows the rest of the world that anybody in our society can amount to anything. We had Nicola as the first female First Minister, and now we've got Humza as the first Asian First Minister. But in Humza's eyes, he's not an Asian. Humza's always been a Scot. He was born here. The fact that his family, his ancestors come from Punjab, doesn't mean that much to Humza. Humza's a Scot from his toes to his hair.
I think he lives in Dundee now.
Broughty Ferry.
Yeah. But anyway, look, guys, this is a big day where we went through a whole circus that was created by the mainstream media that should not have been invited into this. However, what's done's done. Now we've got to show, we've got to push the thing back the other way and go, right, guys, now we've got that shite over and done with. Now we're going to show you how intent we are on gaining our independence, whether you like it or not.
As I say, but this is a big, internationally, this is a big day. How many nations out there have had an immigrant, or descendants of an immigrant, become their prime minister, their president?
Yeah.
But it shows the world that Scotland is an equality-based society.
Yes.
You know, and that anybody can smash that glass ceiling, whether you be a female or whether you be from immigrant stock, which we are. We're all from immigrant stock. When you get right back here, we all wandered out to Africa. We just get paler the further north we go. There was less sun to keep us brown. Simple as that. Inside every white skin's a black man. Don't forget that.
We started off with there. We all started off from Africa. That was it.
Ethiopia, they tell me.
Yes, that's right. That's where the Garden of Eden was. Yes.
There you go.
But BBC are talking the Sawa.
He's spit his dummy because he's not going to be the first agent. Look.
Yeah.
As I say, it is a monumental day for Scotland, for the SNP. I think that's our first Asian leader of the SNP. In fact, I know it is. And of course, it's a monumental day for Scotland, and it's a great step forward for equality in our country.
Yeah. As far as Humza, Kate, and Ash sort of like coming back together, they're still part of the same party.
James has googled the Declaration of Growth, but the Declaration of Calton Hill, but it doesn't seem to be able to find anywhere to sign it. It's on the website, mate. It's no, just go to the website. There's a place to just click here to sign.
Yeah. Well, DJ Marty says, has he the boys to take on the English Parliament? Has anybody at the moment, until they do?
Right. He's the only one of the candidates that says he was going to take them on.
Yeah, but we'll never know. We won't know that until it happens.
Well, when he was at the wheel, you know what's going to happen. This Section 35 is going to get challenged in the Supreme Court.
Yeah. But
let's hope it goes via the Scottish court first. You know.
Well, guys, look, it's down to you lot. If you
Right, hold on. Let's Bravehearts put the link to the Declaration of Carlton Hill in the chat, folks. So you'll find there's a wee chat facility that you can go to, and the link's in there.
Yeah, but look, I can't really find any better way to say this. We can either A, go and bump our gums for the next 12 months about how we didn't like the choice of First Minister, or we can get behind the First Minister and make it bloody happen. It's up to you guys. It really is. What are we going to do?
Aye, Chris, I'm sorry you having to leave us early, but thanks very much for tuning in as usual.
Bar the doors. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah. But hey, you can serve your time the naughty step next week when you get back. Sorry, Thursday when you get back. But hey, as I say, it's a big day for Scotland today, for the SNP today. It's a big day for Scotland tomorrow. And I dare say that the opposition will be now demanding. Well, I don't think they're demanding an election. I don't think Sarwar was serious when he said they don't have a mandate. Of course, they have a mandate. They were part of the party who pushed the last manifesto. In fact, what we have today is slap his knuckles if he tried to deviate from the manifesto that he was bloody elected on. That's a Tory stunt.
Yeah.
Every one of these new owners in there is trying to take the party in a different direction when they had no mandate for the public to do so. The one thing that the three candidates didn't have was a mandate for the public to change the party direction. If they want a mandate to change direction, then they better hold an election. Because I keep saying this, I'm a Democrat to my toes.
Mm-hmm.
So we elected this particular clutch of MSPs and ministers, whether it be First Minister or any other minister, on that manifesto for the May 2021 election. So our job is to make sure that they carry on with their progressive policies and push for independence, of course. I see a lot of people saying that independence should be the first thing on his lips and all. No, the first thing on his lips should have been and was, he will represent all citizens of Scotland. I don't know how many times I've said this, but it's imperative that our First Minister of whatever colour, and that means party colour, represents all the Scottish citizens. All of them.
Yeah.
Absolutely every single one. No matter what you think of them, as people, as a group, or whatever, the First Minister has to represent everyone.
In a wee answer to DJ Marty, he says, change the Scots law to stop Jack vetoing everything. Can we do that? I personally believe we can. I personally believe that the majority of the people of Scotland have the ability to give that power behind our particular parliament to allow them to go ahead and go, no, you can't.
Aye. And Aki's mad. Congratulations to Hamilton last night. I believe it was I can't remember what cup it is. One of the cups anyway last night, and Hamilton Aki's went through. At least Humza can knock out Dross with an uppercut in Parliament chat. Listen, anybody in this chat on Facebook in the community there, or here on YouTube in the community here, that any one of you could take the two idiots on in a debate. Any one of you. In fact, I've offered to debate both of them. I don't think either of them are up to the task. I think I'd have a field day with them. And David's seen me in a few wicked debates, so he'll know.
I don't give in, so there.
The Challenge Cup last night, so it was.
Right, guys. We've covered this, we think, in some depth. We've seen your response to it. Some good responses, some where I'm not happy about that, but you've got to get your heads around the fact that Humza Yousaf is our First Minister, all bar shouting tomorrow, right?
What's interesting about what DJ is saying there is hold an election on independence only. Humza's the only one of the three I heard saying in a hustings as well. that he's no rolled out a snap plebiscite election, Scottish election.
Yeah.
He's the only one I've heard say that actually out of the three of them.
Yeah.
Although he, like the others, he knows that he has to build. I mean, we're sitting more or less 50-50 in the polls. John Curtis is which interesting that we should get on to John Curtis. He's actually come out this week and said independence is inevitable, and that there will be another referendum.
Yeah.
And this is a guy that actually predicts elections correctly, you know. So I've got a lot of weight behind him.
Yeah, John Curtis, I watched a debate, if you like, one of the universities on the Constitution, right? And he was sat alongside Vince Cable, if you remember the Lib Dem.
I remember that, I did, aye.
Missed it, right? But John came out head and shoulders above Vince Cable and the other guy that was a lead advocate in Scotland, right?
Aberdeen University.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and you know, he rose in my eyes as being an academic that was able to make the kind of predictions that he makes. And as he says, the reason he got into the science of fixology, I can't say it right. The reason he got into that was because he liked to be able to predict what was going to happen in the future with elections. You know, so and if John Curtis says there's going to be an independence referendum and Scotland becomes independent, I think you can take that to the bank.
Aye, John's seldom rang when it comes to these things. I don't always agree with his opinions, but he seldom rang. But the piece I was reading that he put out on constitutional matters, he was talking about the shakiness of the Supreme Court's ruling and all, based on the two different constitutional traditions in the UK.
The initial reason for the talk was looking at different kinds of elections, and the fact at the moment that Westminster is first past the post, and it doesn't work for the democracy of the United Kingdom anymore.
Well, that's the reason why devolution came about in the first place, wasn't it? The Council of Europe pointed out that the UK was a state and it wasn't a country, and therefore the constituent parts should be at least devolved to give a measure of a veneer on which so-called democracy exists.
Yeah.
Why am I not seeing Mad Monk's bloody comments? Everybody else is. Shuggy, you hiding from me? There you're there. Anyway, just me being nosy, like to know what's going on in the comments. Will be extremely busy promoting Scotland around the globe. Well, you know, as long as she's an MSP, that's going to be a problem because apparently Westminster's going to shackle them up.
Stephen Kelly put up a post on Facebook that says all the minorities might switch to SNP and movement now. I think what he's saying by that is if we all suddenly piled behind.
I see Marco working with a couple of other people who put videos out about this idea.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to give Marco the credit because that's where credit's due. Marco Ronaldo, a friend of David now, our Facebook friend, and I've met him a few times personally as well. Nice fella. Since 2015, Marco's been telling us if we want to prove that we want independence, then everybody who supports independence, hold your nose and buy an SNP membership.
Not necessarily hold your nose, because you might like the SNP, but for those that you maybe Alba or Labour or Tory, you know, hold your nose. If you do want independence, and we do know there are some Tories out there that do want independence.
Yep.
I've not had a chance to have a chat with many of them on that, but I feel certain that there is a good reason why, as a Tory, they support independence for Scotland.
You see it as an investment opportunity, David. I have spoke to them on that, as you know.
Why don't you talk about that?
Thomas, you're free to write songs about absolutely anything, my friend.
You know, mate.
Absolutely anything.
I think Nicola would be all right if she could be chaperoned by Bojo's Italian security team. Oh dear.
But
It'll be rather interesting to see what happens with Nicola over the coming weeks and months, of what sort of part she'll take in the independence thing. Personally, I think what she'll be doing is she'll be booking herself a nice long holiday somewhere. So it'll be maybe a few months before we see her back again, right? But then when it gets past the summer recess and they get back into it, it's possible we might see Nicola taking part in the independence movement rather than just the SNP per se.
Aye, that's very true. John did say that back after we lost the last referendum. He said it just goes word. And this other comment here. It's still frustrating that with all the sleaze, with the Tories, pensions age, NHS, PPI, PPE, throw in into one. Support for independence isn't higher. Well, you know, we can only go with the commercial polls. I tend to see them as a measure of the day. When you're looking for long-term trends, I keep telling people, let's look at social attitude studies, especially the two big ones here in the UK, the British Social Attitude Study, Scottish Social Attitude Study. And there, when you get to questions of where the seat of power should sit, that's when you start to get the real measure of how many people think that independence is the right idea. That's the amount of people who think it's the right idea, but on any given day, they might have a doubt because of this factor or that factor or this factor. Social attitude studies, especially over the last decade, have shown a trend towards people wanting more and more power seated in Edinburgh. 61% of them want all decisions about Scotland made in Edinburgh. That's a long-term trend. Daily polls, that's just something that tells us what the people allegedly feel that day. Or what it tells you is how people answer a series of questions, you know.
Right, I'm going to give you a wee smidgen from management training way back when. Do any of you remember Betamax and VHS? Well, you know, at one point we knew fine well that VHS was the way it was going to go, and loads of people had invested in Betamax video recorders, right? And what that did was that created what they call a burning platform. A burning platform is a place that you've got to like jump from and leap to somewhere that's safe, right? So what happened was the people that had Betamax, that literally just went, oh, bugger it. And they paid the extra money to go and get themselves a VHS video recorder, right? Or they hung with the very, very few actually hung with Betamax, right? So that's a burning platform. Burning platform on politics means that you're sat in a situation that's really, really bad. Cost of living, the NHS is going to get sold off. Your mortgage is going through the ceiling. And all the other bit, and Brexit's blooming possibly killing your job, right? That's a burning platform. And you've got to give somebody a clear indication of where to jump to. That's your job, guys. That's not Humza's job. That's your job. Is actually telling your friends and your neighbours which way they jump.
To get off that burning platform.
Yeah, that's right. So don't stick with it.
That brings us on to something else we were talking about the leadership things overtaking, and that's Lee Govey, Andy, the Chancellor, yesterday, telling us that we're going to see our cost of living contract for the next 5 years at least. Well, if that's not a burning platform to let us jump off it,
yeah.
And Humza actually named a few of them, you know, like child poverty and exorbitant energy costs in an energy-rich nation.
Mm-hmm.
These are all burning platforms.
Yeah.
Get out there, get stirring up the populace, and then plant the idea we could do it differently for Edinburgh, firmly in their heads.
We've now. Oh, hang on a second. Oh, by the way, thank you very much, Alistair. Thank you for that £5 super chat. It's great. Thank you, sir. Yeah, can we get away from having a discussion about VHS and Betamax? I was using that to make a point. You don't mind.
Eddie's right. See, Marco was pushing this for 2015 and nobody's paid that much attention. People are starting to get nab onto Marco's idea now.
Yeah.
Even I always thought it was a great idea, just didn't have a platform to push it.
Yeah.
But Marco's starting to find platforms to push it.
If
If
you
you want to show a desire for independence, join the SNP.
if you look at what we've seen over the years, we've had all under one banner with the book that people had to sign and all the rest of it, right? But the only people that sign that are the people that go to the marches and the rallies and all the rest of it, right? What we need something whereby a lot more people can actually say, yeah, I want independence. And taking an SNP membership is the strongest way you can do that. And it's verifiable and all the rest of it. All right, Nathan. Betamax. Forget it. All right.
You did bring it up, your bam pop. I was hoping that was going to be one of your tumbleweeds we could move right on.
It's not me that's a bam pop. It's people that keep on arguing about Betamax and VHS.
Right, hey, I have to say, Nathan was right. Betamax was better quality.
No, the best of all was the Philips disc. Remember that? Right, anyway.
Avro, you're watching for Sydney, are you? Welcome, Avro. Welcome. Anyway, where are we? 10 minutes to go.
Yeah.
So, as I say, folks, it's back to eyes on the prize.
Yeah.
Except for it's time to start actually getting boots on the ground as well. And Saturday will be a good chance. The Royal Mile is an iconic street. It's a worldwide known street. And if we want the international press to salve and take note, one of the places they want to take their pictures is on that Royal Mile, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it just says Scotland all the way down that street. I'd like to see 20 or 30,000 people there this weekend as opposed to the usual 3. I know people still have pandemic fears, and we're all getting on a bit. I'm sorry to say, I mean, I was first independence march. I was 42, I think. I'm 55.
Oh dear. Wasn't it the Royal Mail we started off in the very, very first one? You remember that?
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
Right. Can I say too much about this? Can I say enough about the fact we need to get behind Humza? You guys, if you've got it in your head, oh, well, I'm not happy about that, and I'm going to argue about that to Kingdom Come. Stupid, silly. You know, that doesn't help. You know, and you know, it's without saying anything ridiculous about them. It's a bit like Alba still arguing about the 2021 election and the fact that Nicola Sturgeon wouldn't give the second vote away to Alba. Right? You know, come on, guys.
And Sandra, it doesn't surprise me that you were on a static rally last week, Sandra. It doesn't surprise me at all. I'm afraid with me working in the evenings, depending on where the static rally is or depending on what's going on, it just determines whether I'll make it or not. Next Saturday, I'll make it. It's only Edinburgh. I'll go along, do the march, listen to a couple of speeches, jump in my car and be back in time to go to work.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. What time does it start, David? Yeah, idea?
It's 1,300 hours in the Royal Mile.
Right.
Congregating at the top of the Royal Mile, marching down to the Parliament. All right.
Okay.
As to the fact that Scotsmen and women argue with each other, aye, but when it comes to the big issues, things that we all agree on, like independence, then it's time to put the petty stuff to one side, keep your eyes on the prize. As I always say, party politics in your pockets, get out there and tell people what they want to hear, that trade will be all right, that we will all be able to manage a currency because everybody else bloody well does. And it's no rocket science, it's no reinventing the wheel. In fact, the thing you've got to impress upon people is becoming independent isn't rocket science, and we're no reinventing the wheel. And we have recent divorces to look at to show how smooth and simple it could be if you had a reasonable partner. But we don't have a reasonable partner. In fact, what we have is an abusive partner.
Yeah.
Simple as that. An abusive partner.
And there are things in place that will deal with an abusive partner in a divorce situation. That's what we're talking about, the Helsinki Accord or wherever, right? There are things in place that are already agreed throughout the world and that the UK are signatories to, that we can actually bring into place to actually make them come to the negotiating table.
Nathan's asking time tomorrow the vote take place for Humza to become First Minister. I imagine it will be the first thing on the parliamentary agenda.
Yeah, yeah.
But as I say, it's very, very important that we now get our eyes back on the prize. Put the nonsense to one side. You know, the gender recognition stuff, and the NHS ambulance chasing stuff, or the so-called missing money stuff. That was yesterday.
I've got the money.
I said, you've been holding on to that money for a long time. Why don't you buy a fucking SNP with on with us? And next time, tell Peter not to tell anybody about the loan he gives you.
Anyway, last night, I've got to say just before we go, last night I watched an utterly marvellous programme. It was about the 1978 Scotland team, Ali's Tartan Army, and it was all about the run up to that and all the rest of it, right? And it was a wonderful little snapshot of Scotland as it was then. And they were talking, the one thing that you saw over and over again was a big banner saying, it's Scotland's oil.
Aye.
Don't forget, this was the year before we were going to vote for the referendum.
That's right, aye.
Yeah, so, and there was a guy who said, you know, if we win this, it's like we'll get the you know, Scotland having its own parliament and all the rest of it, dead easy. Well, it did happen. It happened 20 years later. Of course it did, right?
And in that 20 years, they learned how to rig the rules. That tells you what sort of dishonest bunch of people at the top of the trade in that road, because we can't blame the English people. They're getting buggered there as much as anybody else.
Yeah.
You know, but no media at the Tory conference this spring, I know.
Yeah.
The banned the media, only a select few, probably Top TV and Gammon TV, GB TV, Gammon TV, will get in.
Yeah.
Exactly right, Eddie. You say you don't need to go back to that one. If you really want to show that you are an independent supporter, put your party politics and your focus sign up to the SNP. Now, when I talk about the How You Gonies, folks, the How You Gonies video has been kicking about for a long time. I don't really want to have to do a full How We Gonies over again. Borders, no problem. We'll trade on the same rules that Northern Ireland will trade with the UK once we rejoin the EFTA or the EU, or EFTA then the EU. Currency. It's not currency, it's not a problem. Scotland already has a currency. What Scotland needs is a central bank. And then a fuck off big printing press. Because we don't want any digital currency nonsense.
It was one of the never-ending arguments that the Unionists put to us. What about borders, right? And the fact that Scotland couldn't have a border with England where they were part of the EU. We've had that answered well and truly now. Northern Ireland. Southern Ireland. There it is.
The Windsor framework.
There's your How You're Gonies. There's your How You're Gonies. Okay.
International trade. Well, the EU and EFTA deal with that, so that's not a problem either.
That's right.
You see, currency is not a problem. We just need to constitute a central bank. We've always said we're in currency. I have at one point explained to people what the difference between a currency union and a currency zone is. The UK operates a currency zone with 15 different currencies in it. We talk about the Falklands pound, we talk about the Gibraltar pound, we talk about the Scottish pound, the Irish pound. They're all separate currencies. You can go to the Bank of England website and learn this stuff. They all get to fluctuate ever so slightly as well in value on the international market, supporting each other. And because they fluctuate, It means they're free floating, but they're underpinned by a base rate at the Bank of England.
Yeah, Willie's bucket says no CBDC, that's the digital currency the central banks are going to bring in. There is a benefit to it, as in it kills some of the big corporates. However, being sensible about it, let's let them kill the big corporates, and then once that's done, start off a paper currency again. They can't stop us.
Oh, there's no bother. The lawn mowing councilman disagrees. Ah, okay. Eddie, that's no nice. We'll let nature take its course. Apparently we're tipping up the way and they're going under. What was it? Frankie Boyle says we'll sit in my mountains and watch his drowned. No, we wouldn't. There were cousins, we tell them.
That's right. Well, I assure you, we become independent, providing we can make things start to look a bit refreshing here and start to do some of the things that we reckon we could do. People in England are no daft. They'll look at that and they'll start saying to their parliament, their MPs, why are we not doing this? And they will, because they're not actually daft. It's just that they get the wool pulled over their eyes all the time by their own MPs.
The currency debate was never a debate. They say we're part of a currency zone. No currency union. We don't have a currency union with England. Yeah. Northern Ireland doesn't have a currency union with England.
That's right.
Gibraltar doesn't have a currency union with England. They have an agreement with the Bank of England to underpin their own currencies as a central bank. That's all it is. You can go and read this stuff. It's on the Bank of England website. It's pretty boring. It's mind-bending. That's why Milligan had me read it.
I read it too. All right.
But if you want, we'll do a show explaining the differences between the currency union and the currency zone. If you really want to be bored, we can do that for you.
What was that you're saying?
We become independent. You can bet your Scottish pound that there will be a big migration from RUK. I know, we need a walk quick.
In actual fact, I've got to say, looking at Scotland, it's like we could handle a population easily of 20 million, right? You figure there's 5 million of us at the moment, we can take in 15 million, right? But the most important thing in there is that we have to control it. Not stop it, but control it and make sure that we've got the infrastructure in place to help all these people. Some of you might not like the idea of suddenly opening the doors. Well, I wouldn't like us just to open the door and all these people come flooding in, because that would cause us utter problems. It really would. So it's just a case of making sure we've got the right thing in place. And making sure we've got
We've only got a couple in fact for a wee bit there, but I want to answer this one for Stevie. Right, if the Iran Saudi peace deal spreads across the Middle East, we might have to start looking at alternatives to paper money. Well, one of the reasons why they're doing it at the moment, I think, has got to do with the fact that the petrodollar is actually on its arse.
Yeah.
I mean, we may as well not kid ourselves on.
Yeah. And
it's one of the reasons why interest rates are so high, as was pointed out with class actions. It's because the holdings of these banks, the government bonds that these banks buy, have bombed. Meaning these banks don't hold enough reserves anymore to cover their depositors.
Yeah.
So we're watching contagion. We might well be on the verge of a second banking crisis, but that will be the excuse. As I say, if you're really interested in this stuff, the Bank of International Settlement, for you that don't know what that is the central bank's lender of last resort. Right? So basically, it's the bank that lends to central banks when central banks are in trouble. Right? Now, in their white paper, going forward for the next 5 years, January 1st, 2025, they want all the central banks in their control to introduce a central bank digital currency. You're making that stuff up, kids. This is serious stuff.
Can I leave you with a wee thought just to think about before we come back on Thursday, right? If the UK government is in debt to the level of 2.8 trillion pounds, and the majority of that was created through quantitative easing by pressing a computer keyboard in the Bank of England, who do we owe all that money to?
Oh, to anybody. It's just numbers on a ledger sheet. In fact, just as easy
David, let the people out there find out. Let them make the transition to thinking about this stuff.
Aye.
Okay.
A wee bit of explanation help along the way. But you know, these same buttons that they press to produce that debt, we could press the same buttons to wipe that debt out. Because it's just numbers on a ledger.
That's right.
Just numbers on a ledger.
But it does create inflation.
There's room for 5 in Belgium. Have we got room for 5 from Belgium? Of course we do. Everybody's welcome. As you will see tomorrow when we have our first Asian First Minister.
Yeah.
Come here, bring your children. Maybe one day they'll be First Minister.
That's right. Yeah. Let's really get this done, because look, guys, we've got an agenda. We want to get this done. We've got plans.
James, if you want to live in above means for many years, you have to go back to the beginning of what's called fractionalised banking. And that goes way back to the old days of when you used to have a central store for your gold, and they realised you wouldn't come and pick it all up at one time, so they would lend some of it to others with an interest rate on it. And eventually they regulated it. So if I put 200 quid in the bank, then that 200 quid turns into $2 grand the bank can lend through something called fractionalised banking. But really, if you want us to do a programme on this stuff, we will if you want. It might kill us to have to do it, but if it's something that interests you, that really interests you, then we can talk about it.
Imagine all the banks singing, holding hands in a big circle, singing "Ring a Ring of Roses," right? And what they're doing is, every time one of them has got a wee bit of a wobble, they all just the money just feeds, and the assets just feed round in a clockwise direction, right? Hyper, what is it called again? Hyper, I forget the name of the thing. But effectively, it was Gordon Brown that fucked the whole banking system in the UK, because he took away the regulation regarding that. It's still in place in America, right? Where they're only allowed to inflate an asset by such and such a percent.
Trump gave an exemption to the small banks.
True. Yes, that's right.
But now, if you really want to talk about banking, folks, and how it works, I suppose we could, but honestly, David and I would slap our wrists afterwards.
No. Right, come on then, it's that time again. Don't forget to smash the like button, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to our wee channel, because, well, we've got plans as well, all right, apart from just wanting independence, right? That just leaves me to say bye-bye, Davey.
Bye, David. Bye, folks. Thanks for joining us again. Lovely numbers again. Have a nice day.